Previously on Higurashi When They Cry console arcs.
なんなのさ、ここは。
あらあら、あなたなの？
Oh dear.
どんなネズミかと思って来てみたら、がっかりね。
I caught my breath and quickly looked back. A woman dressed in a nurse's outfit was standing there. I'd seen her before. I'm sure that's Takano. Right, she's the nurse that works at the clinic. Takano.
大山明堂してネズミ一匹。それもドブネズミとはね。面白そうだから泳がせてみたけど、どうやらただのコソ泥ってとこか。せっかくだから楽しんでいきなさいな。実はね、とっても素敵な新薬を研究している真っ最中だったの。既存の比較にもならない夢の最終兵器がね。どう？素敵だと思わない？
That was the last thing I heard in this world as a human.
姫さんの気持ちはわかる。大巻の件は奇想の速水からも聞いてるし、岡部の野郎に手を出したくなったのも当然だろう。だがな、それとこれとは話が違う。無茶な敵討ちはただの自己満足でしかない。そりゃあんたも分かっているんだろう。
はい、よく分かっています。恨みや憎しみで無理をしても何にもならない。ましてこれだけ複数の組織で大勢の人を動かす目的がそんな個人的なものであれば、だ
ったらなぜ？犯行目的、犯人像は全くの不明。手がかりも完全に手詰まりだ。報道の連中には3ヶ月で型をつけるって言ったそうだが、なんでそんな無茶を。
無茶は承知の上です。ゴールにたどり着けるかどうかも正直自信はありません。でも立ち向かいたいんです。この事件の背後にはおそらく大きな何かの意志が存在している。それが何かも分からずに諦めて捜査を閉じてしまっては、悪の存在を許し正義を語る警察としての立場が揺るがされることにもなりかねない。私は市民の規範たる警察官として悪には全力で立ち向かっていきたいんです。相手は巨大で完全に闇の中に潜んでいます。ですから普通に捜査しただけでは尻尾を出すとは思えない。なのでとにかく派手に動いて反応を待つ。そのためのマスコミです。
だからってこれは分が悪い賭けだ。いや、むしろやけっぱちとしか思えん。姫さん、それはあんたが一番わかってるはずだろう。
Solving a case in just 3 months. To put it plainly, the odds are slim. In fact, the success rate is low enough it might as well be considered impossible. It's hard to believe that the big shots even had enough faith to authorize it. However,
華やかな方が食いつきが良くなるじゃないですか。それに埋蔵金とか謎の遺跡とか見つかる必要なんてないものでもそれを追っているというだけで番組になる。テレビ局も成功は特に期待していませんし、あとは私の覚悟だけです。
姫さん、お前。
A young woman came to Kakuji Station half a year ago. Tomoe Minai. Her presence was initially taken with a lot of curiosity or careful scrutiny. But now she had gained the compassion and support of the majority of the people here, and they'd come to rely on her. Also, the people opposed to her ultimately gave up on their various schemes, and they too played a role in invigorating the organization. Indeed, it wasn't Tomoe's talent alone that was outstanding. Still, she inspired a trend. Everyone in Kakuji Station answered her continual desire to seek change, and it was by no means trivial.
姫か。
Every time he heard that name, Okabe felt unpleasant. But recently, he began thinking, was she really so terrible? Or maybe...
その
So heavy. The air felt incredibly heavy. In the end, maybe she should have asked about it another day, at a less sudden and confusing time. Still, the longer she put it off, the less time it would give her to persuade her. No, she can't get a good answer in a situation like this without laying down sufficient groundwork, right? Thinking that, she said to herself, "This is it." But just then...
いつ？
多分再来週のいつか。
再来週ね。確か木曜がダメだったと思うけど。
藤田さん、私時々思うんです。お姉ちゃんって本当は刑事に向いてないんじゃないかって。
まどかさん。
今この柿内署の管轄内だけでどれくらいの人が死んでると思います？どれだけの人が犯罪をしでかしているか知っていますか？10や20、それこそ100でも収まらないくらいたくさんの人が悲しんで、その一つ一つに同情したり後悔なんてしていたら心が持ちませんよ。それに警察だって人間だから万能じゃないんです。間違いだってあるし、できないこともある。それなのにお姉ちゃんはいつもみんなに応えようと頑張ってあっちこっちに動き回って、その分ボロボロになって傷ついてる。もっと割り切ってやらなきゃ本当に壊れちゃうのに。
ご苦労様。何か情報あった？
いえ、すみません。尾崎渚の関係者完全に貝になっちゃいまして、話すらしてくれませんでしたよ。ああ、俺もカフェオレ頼む。
Fujita let out a sigh while loosening his tie. Then he tossed a 100-yen coin to Hanada, who was buying a can of coffee from the vending machine, before turning his head back.
全員たたりが自分たちにも及んでくるかもって怯えていました。茨城の事件の被害者の中にはさらに引っ越して行方をくらました家庭もありましたよ。
引っ越し？その安否は？
ああ、大丈夫です。そっちは俺の方で裏を取ってますから。ただとても話を聞ける状況ではありませんね。せっかく助けてやろうってのに疫病神呼ばわりされて門前払いです。
すっかり嫌われちゃったものね。まあ2人も死んでいれば当然といえば当然だけど。
俺なんか本当に塩まかれたりもしましたからね。俺
Hana said that he initially planned to take Tomoe's advice and cooperate with Ushi evoking a Miya station, but unfortunately he was away on a business trip, so he had no choice but to go alone. Business trip, you say? He had heard about how Tomoe was attacked there and felt it would be a bit careless, but at the time he was convinced there was no other option. Honda had no prior knowledge of Hinamizawa, so even though he was told about the danger, he likely had no idea what it actually entailed.
今度会いに行ってみるかな。
A phone call would be sufficient, but it's far easier to get a feel for people when you can meet up with them and speak directly. Perhaps she'd be able to obtain some new information. Of course, she was reluctant to ever set foot in Hinamizawa again.
そろそろ時間か。テレビ局に移動しないと。
また取材ですか。なんか大変ですね。
今日のは打ち合わせだから大した用事じゃないわよ。ま、その後飲みの席になっちゃうかもしれないけどね。
たまには休んだ方がいいですよ。あなたが今倒れたら科警研と現場の連中が衝突してプロジェクトが吹っ飛びますからね。
There was no hint of levity in Fujita's words. Some of their investigators had already openly complained about the arrogant, callous attitude of the Endrift's researchers.
全部終わったらゆっくりするわ。それまでは全力疾走ってところかな。
But where was she headed? And after it was all over, would she feel like she accomplished something? Or would she be left feeling empty? Even Tomoe herself didn't know for sure.
それじゃ何か進展があったらまた教えてね。
了解です。
任せてください。
And so it continues. Greetings, my name is Neosekken, and welcome back to my Let's Play of the Higurashi When They Cry console arcs. So, Tomoe, you looking forward to the family get-together / first time meeting that Monika's got all arranged for you to attend? Eh? Eh? I know I am. I got my bowl of popcorn ready, and I am expecting one hell of a show. Because I know you'll be on your best behavior, especially with the man of the hour, the one marrying your sister, who also just happened to be your daddy's former boss. Yep, I'm expecting nothing but a peaceful family get-together / first time meeting. Nothing overly dramatic whatsoever. No furniture will go flying. No heads will be threatened to be knocked into a nearby pond. Nothing of the sort. And I won't have to launch him out of a window because of any underhanded treachery that he may have in store for us. Ain't that right, Chief? You wouldn't betray me yet again, would you? Eh? Eh? Alright, let's get into this. Tomoe parted ways with Fujita and Hanada, intending to head to the TV station by car, so she headed out of the main entrance and into the nearby parking lot. The sun had already set, and the veil of darkness had already been draped over the surrounding area. And, out there,
あれ？
looking closely, there was a man sitting on a large stone, smoking a cigarette. Well, his choice of makeshift chair aside, I mean, he's just a man smoking a cigarette, a smoked sausage. Nothing terribly out of the ordinary there. He was wrapped in thick shadows, so she probably would never notice him if not for the bright red flame. He seemed to be killing time by blowing smoke circles. She was all too familiar with that gesture.
荒川さん？
ん？ああ、未来警部さん。どうもどうも。
When the man noticed Tomoe, he stamped out his cigarette, then smiled and aimlessly walked toward her. His lightly soiled jacket and shabby-looking jeans made him look like a vagrant.
いやいや、ちょうどよかった。どう呼び出せばいいのかと思ってたところなので、ドンピシャですよ。
そんなところでタバコ吸っていると職質食らいますよ。
While somewhat exasperatedly shrugging her shoulders, Tomoe picked up the cigarette butt that had fallen onto the ground and tossed it in a nearby sewer grate. Well, I mean, it's not a trash can, but, I mean, waste of a different sort does go down there, so I guess by sheer technicality, this counts as disposing of as properly disposing of trash. Maybe. Ryuichi Arakawa, a freelance journalist who covered a wide range of Wait, that Arakawa? That one? Well, since this, well, thinking about it now, since Ura, I suppose, is meant to be a finale to the console exclusive stories that we've seen all the way up until this point, I guess it makes sense that they would try to find some way to throw him in here too. So yeah, and thinking about it now, I guess I shouldn't be too terribly surprised. Terribly surprised to see him here. But still, hey, how you doing? A freelance journalist who covered a wide range of topics, from politics to the sex industry. Oh, and what would you know about the sex industry, my good sir? He also gets a lot of hate for his brute force interview style that ignores press conventions. Yeah, I don't think brute forcing and your way into anything involving the sex industry will be looked upon kindly. There's a word for that sort of thing, and it starts with an R and ends with an E. The rumors about him are not pleasant. Even so, he was also a key informant, reporting directly to Director Mino in the Public Relations Office. Yeah, I'm sure he likes to be informed of all the shady going-ons behind the sex industry, if you catch my meaning. He was deeply familiar with how to gather information for both the underground and the upper echelons. Now, if you said that he'd also know how to gather information from under the belt, I would also believe you.
私に何か用事ですか?
Alright, I'll stop with the sex jokes.
だったら呼び出してくれればよかったのに。
警察署に入るのはあまりゾッとしない立場ですからね。俺のことを目の敵にしてるやつもいるし、なるべくならと。
Well, I could definitely understand why they would feel that way about you, given your profession.
電話をかけてくれたらよかったじゃないですか。直通の番号教えましたよね。
分かってて言ってるでしょ。要するにそういう用事ってことですよ。
Tomoe's eyes suddenly narrowed and sharpened. In short, it meant that he didn't want anyone to know about his contact with Tomoe. It was something she'd rather not consider, but given the current situation, there was a possibility of eavesdroppers even within the police station.
とりあえず移動しながらでもいいですか？この後、書き打ちテレビに行く予定がありますので。
ええ、もちろん。ついでに書き打ち空港まで送ってってもらってもいいですか？タクシー代を切らしちまって。
Cheapskate. Arakawa shamelessly said that while scratching his head. Though shocked by his impudence, Tomoe shrugged her shoulders and said okay, then walked over to where her car was parked. Sure that car of yours doesn't have a bug in there, if you catch my meaning? You know, I just noticed this for the first time, but the rearview mirror actually shows a car right behind us. I'm amazed I never noticed that little detail before. The bright headlights of Tomoe's car parted the veil of darkness as they gently drove forward. The traffic volume was actually fairly reasonable and not stressful at all. She'd likely be able to arrive at the TV station well in advance, even after a quick stop at the airport. Before long, Tomoe noticed that the traffic light about 100 meters ahead turned red, so she made an abrupt left turn. Then, the car pulled into a slightly narrow road and she stepped on the gas.
Well, 空港はあっちの国道まっすぐでしょ？
ショートカットですよ。こっちの国道、信号多くてよく止められるんです。少なくとも5分から10分、所要時間を短縮できますよ。
Well, God help you if there's any kind of traffic jam going down this way.
へえ、知りませんでした。さすが地元警察。お詳しいですね。
Arakawa Arakawa was giving honest praise. But Tomoe was confident that nobody at Kakuichi Station, not even the locals, were that intimately familiar with the area's geography. After the death of her parents, Tomoe had been regularly traveling to Kakuichi Airport, since her father was investigating something there when he was still alive. While visiting every year, the roads in the surrounding area had gone significantly brighter. And in addition to that, she would often imagine how elaborate siege operations would play out if there was ever a criminal inside the airport. No kidding. Although, those efforts hadn't proved useful even once in the past 12 years.
公安のマークがどうやら外れたようです。
Oh. Shortly after emerging onto the more heavily trafficked highway, Arakawa's sudden words caused Tomoe to lightly catch her breath. He glanced at Tomoe's sudden change in facial expression, then continued in a monotone voice.
理由についてはまだわかんないんですがね。ただ、割と信用できる筋からの情報です。
そうですか。
Tomoe felt there was something strange happening around her recently, so she asked Arakawa to find out what it was. And from him, she learned that investigators from MPD Public Security and Personnel Affairs have been following her.
マークが外れたのは、まあ、いいことなんでしょうけど、理由もなくついたり消えたりってのは、気味が悪い話ですよね。前の室長はどう言っていました？
室長も何が原因でそうなったのかはっきりとは把握してないそうです。知り合いの公安に聞いてもラインが違うので不明だと。隠しているようには見えませんでしたが。
秋山さんもそんなことを言ってたわね。
Commissioner Akiyama of the Aichi Prefectural Police Public Security Bureau was an old acquaintance of Maino, so he was willing to share intel of Tomoe within the scope of his duties. But if it was a line of investigation even he still couldn't get a handle on, it meant this was something very deep within the top secret intelligence agency. There are two scenarios where public security will mark an individual. The first is a subject clearly intending to commit an act against national interests. And the second is when dealing with people connected to subjects of the first type. In other words,
私が捜査している事件が公安と何らかの関係を持っていたってことなんでしょうか。
Yeah, you could definitely say that.
そしてマークが外れたってことは何らかの進展か、それとも変化があった。
まあそういうことですよ。どうやらあんたの狙っている犯人ってのはかなり裏があるようですね。ただ人間を殺したなんて単純なものじゃない。相当なしがらみがありますよ。
A flash of inspiration suddenly went through Tomoe's head. Half a year ago, Yamaoki had Tomoe transferred to the Public Relations Office. She later learned from Director Maino that it wasn't just disciplinary action against her for assaulting 2nd Division Section Chief Okabe, but also because Deputy Chief Hata was pursuing liability against her. But the truth is, they likely had another objective, because they could have easily transferred her to the 1st Division of Aichi Prefectural Police, or the Chubu Region Police Department, or a plethora of other options. Nevertheless, they had her moved to a department with no jurisdiction for criminal investigation, to show someone that she had been removed from the investigation. In which case, who is that someone? What on earth was Yamaoki thinking, moving her away from criminal investigation?
とりあえずマークがなくなったとはいえ注意はしておいた方がいいですよ。
Well, if I had to wager a guess as to who it was, it's probably that one politician guy that has been profiting from all the illegal kickbacks from the pharmaceutical industry regarding that specific drug that has been causing its fair share of problems throughout the console arcs. Like with Natsumi in particular. Anyway. Oh, wait, that's your line.
さすがに俺も知り合いが事件に巻き込まれて不幸に遭うなんてのは見たくありませんからね。
上等。捜査の途上で殉職なんて警察冥利に尽きるってやつですか？
強気な人だな。ま、そういうとは思ってましたけどね。
Arakawa sighed and scratched his head, with a frightened look on his face. She had a cute face, and she really was a stout-hearted girl. Or stout-hearted girl, excuse me. Don't know where I got south from. She really was a stout-hearted girl. That was probably why a shrewd man in a national police agency like Mino was so interested in introducing her.
あ、そうだ。荒川さん、例の人とはどうなりました？
I heard the name Reina.
例の？ああ、彼女のことですか。ご心配なく、ちゃんと先週に大人の責任は果たしましたから。失礼。
Arakawa pulled out a box of cigarettes out of his breast pocket as he said that, then put one in his mouth and lit it. He thought it would be okay to smoke with her consent, but then he seemed to get embarrassed and reconsider, until Tomoe urged him to go ahead.
正直、こんなヤクザな商売をやってる人間が家庭を持つなんざ、悪いジョークか何かって気もしますがね。子供が小学校に上がろうって言うんじゃしょうがねえ。腹くくって席に入れましたよ。
それはおめでとうございます。でも奥さん、大した人ですね。子供ができて大きくなっていたのに、あなたに連絡を取ろうとしなかったんでしょ？
Wait, he's got a wife and a kid, huh?
まあ、俺の邪魔になるって思ったみたいです。
Who's the lucky lady?
気遣いすぎなんですよ。こっちだってそこまで冷たい人間じゃねえ。言ってくれりゃ力にもなったのに。
まあ、何事も話さなければ始まらないってことでしょうね。
まったくです。気を使って言わなかったってのは結局のところ自己満足なんですよ。本当に自分が心配するに足る相手なら、よほどでない限り言われたことで態度を急変させるなんてありえませんからね。あいつもいい勉強になったと思いますよ。
勉強になったのはあなたも一緒でしょ？
こいつは一本取られましたな。
Arakawa had a lively smile on his face as he said that, rubbing a cigarette out in the ashtray. Tomoe secretly smiled to herself, thinking his facial expression looked much more refreshed than before.
確か来月、柿内空港隣の自衛隊基地で航空ショーが開かれるみたいですからね。ちょいと家族サービスの真似事でもしてみようかなと。彼女と子供と3人で。
それはいいですね。戦闘機のアクロバット飛行なんて東京でもなかなか見られるものじゃありませんよ。お子さん喜ぶと思うな。
The runways at the Kakuuchi airport are occasionally shared with the SDF. So, the Air Force garrison and base facilities hold an air show every year in June and invite foreign forces.
あ、でも観覧チケットって結構プレミアだと聞きましたよ。取るの大変だったんじゃないですか？
そのあたりはちょいと前野さんに仮一つってやつです。
Tomoe gave a deeply understanding nod to that. Now that he mentioned it, Mino did say he could use his public relations connections to get tickets to anything.
しかし男の子ってのはどうして飛行機だとかバイクだとか速度のある乗り物に憧れるんでしょう。
Because they're fast, woman! They're fast, and when they crash, it is spectacular! Unless it's your thing that crashes. Then it's tragic. Come on, baby. You can do it! You can do it! Go, baby, go! Ah! Ah! No! Fuck!
うちの花田くんもそっち系ですけど、私にはその良さが今一つっていうか。
おお、だったら今度一緒にクルージングなんてどうです？空と陸もいいですけど、海での暴走もなかなか楽しいもんですよ。
もう浮気の相談ですか？
She turned the wheel to the right as she said that, and arrived at a wide-open, straight road. The Kakuchi Airport Terminal building could be seen straight ahead.
それじゃあ俺はここで。送ってくれてどうもでした。
どういたしまして。何か新しい情報があったらよろしくお願いしますね。
わかりました。前の室長からもあなたのことはよろしく言われてますから。ではまた。
Arakawa held his hand up with 2 fingers extended and waved, as he disappeared into the airport lobby. After watching him go, Tomoe got back in the car, then stopped and gazed at an airplane as it flew across the sky up ahead.
柿内空港、6月、水曜、池、か。
She repeated to herself the words written on the last page of her father's notebook. 12 years ago, Tomoe's father was a detective at public security, trying to investigate something at this very airport. And now, public security had marked her to monitor her movements. Maybe it was just a coincidence. But maybe it had something to do with the case her father was pursuing. That it does.
父さん。
Was it the truth she was approaching? Or was it the hour of death? Tomoe herself wasn't sure. Well, look who it is, and look who I am!
あ、おかえり。ってどうしたのその髪。
What happened to her hair?
いやー、購買部が思いのほか激戦でね。押し合いへし合いでパンを買うのも一苦労。
As I said that, I flattened my bangs that were frayed in the rush through the crowd. Looking more closely, my lovely pigtails had come undone. It was a hassle, but I'll have to fix them later. Oh, so you're also running around with loose hair now too, huh? Can I see? Or better yet, maybe I should just untie it and let it down straight. Maybe an image change would be just as popular for me as it was for Natsumi. But I doubt it. Try it!
そういえば今日水道点検で食堂が休みだものね。そっちを利用していた子たちが殺到したら確かに戦場かも。
たく、そうと分かってたから今日は就業チャイムと同時にダッシュって思ってたのにさ。原告の谷口の野郎、 くだらない豆知識なんかで時間ロスしやがって。
まあまあ、とりあえず食べましょう。
はいよ。あれ？
Just then, I noticed that there were 2 fewer seats around our circle of desks than usual. Oh, I see. The lovebirds are off doing their own thing, eh? Tomoko quickly noticed my suspicions and spoke up while opening her lunchbox.
アキラちゃん、課題の絵が仕上げ直前だから昼休みも美術室にこもるんだって。それで夏美も例の手伝いってことで昼食は美術室で撮るみたいよ。
Holding a paintbrush steady can be a very daunting task, don't you know, Chisato? I tersely sat the bread and the drink I bought down from the desk, then took a seat directly across from Tomoko. I felt like something had thrown a bucket of cold water over me, but I decided to ignore it. Come to think of it, it's been a while since we've had lunch with just the 2 of us. Probably not since Natsumi was out sick last fall.
なんかからかう相手がいないってのも調子が狂うね。タマコだとツッコミが鋭すぎるからいまいちやりにくいし。
何それ、喧嘩売ってるの？
Tomoko made a disgruntled expression, but she quickly forced a smile and shrugged her shoulders. It seemed like she was feeling the same discomfort.
あの2人も最初はどうなるかなって心配だったけど、うまくやっているみたいね。この前の土曜日は画材を買いに2人で街に出かけたってアキラちゃん言ってたしさ。
土曜日ね。
I gave her a vague nod while stabbing the straw into my drink. Sounds like you plopped the straw in your drink rather than stabbed it. And the contents spilled out a bit because I was squeezing the carton so tight.
あれ？どうしたの？千里。
いや、まあ大したことじゃないんだけど、そういやその日遊びに行こうって誘って断られたなってさ。
Oh, Natsumi, you're denying Chisato her Natsumi fix. That's not a wise thing to do.
何かの用事かなとは思ってたけど、だったらそうと言ってくれりゃよかったのに。
たまたまよ。それにあんただって言えるの？好きな子と約束があるからって。あれってちょっと気まずいんだよね。
まあね。
It's true that if she had told me, I would have pried and asked more, being a bit of a bother, especially if it was just for a mundane little errand. No, that's not all. This is Natsumi. She probably felt bad about prioritizing a date with her boyfriend over my invitation, so maybe that made it hard for her to say it directly. I'm grateful for the sentiment, but the fact that she was keeping secrets instead of just talking to me honestly didn't feel good.
昼休みを2人きりで過ごすのだって言ってくれりゃ別に止めないのにさ。もう公認の仲なんだからもっと堂々と付き合えっての。
それができないのがあの子の性格でしょ。知ってるくせに。
変に気を回しすぎだっつの。まったく。
それに訂正しておくけど、夏美は黙って言ってなんかいないから。あんたにも話してから行くってさっきまで待っていたんだよ。
そうなの？
あんたも勘ぐりすぎ。まあ気持ちはわかるけどさ。
I awkwardly slurped at my fruit-flavored milk to tease that sore point. It's true that I have a tendency to worry a lot and overthink things. Even I know that. Maybe it's because I hadn't had many opportunities to talk with Natsumi lately. I don't think it's jealousy. At least I want to believe that. And I really am genuinely worried about her well-being.
それにしても。
It wasn't that she was oblivious to her charm. but I couldn't help but feel frustrated by her excessive lack of confidence. Can I really go out with him? Am I allowed to enjoy this happiness? Her facial expressions and attitude as she asked us those things always made us smile.
いいに決まってるでしょ。なのに、あの子と来たら。
Even so, I thought that as long as I respected her feelings and was confident in her, her awkwardness would disappear. But unfortunately, that thought was way off the mark. Even now, Natsumi still can't fully accept the idea that happiness is something appropriate for her to have. And what's worse,
あの子、ちょっと調子に乗ってるんじゃない？最近いい気になってさ、田舎者のくせに。
country bumpkins are allowed happiness too, you little bitch. That mean-spirited gossip suddenly caught my ears. Of course they'd be jealous. Despite Natsumi's attitude, people were envious of her sudden surge in popularity within the class, so some girls were whining about it. Well, if you don't like it so much, why don't you have a sudden spurt of popularity? Go ahead! If she could do it, surely you can, yeah? But Natsumi must have heard it too. She never speaks up about it, but she definitely cares. A lot. Is that proof that she's afraid of even us feeling jealousy or hateful? Her bad habit of feeling overly suspicious has already started to pop up again. And that may have been part of the reason she turned down my invitation.
せめてさ、私たちには言ってくれればいいのに。あれだけ話し合って分かり合ったんだから、いつでも力になるつもりなんだけどな。
そうね。だけど、今は私たちがどう言っても、多分夏美には届かないと思う。自分に自信を持たせられるのは、結局自分しかいないんだし。冷たいかもしれないけど、あの子が自分で解決しなきゃいけないんじゃないかな。
そうなんだけどさ。
It was just as Tomoko said. Confidence isn't something you gain just because of other people talking to you. All we can do is, well, just watch over her. And be ready to grab her hand anytime she holds it out, asking for help. But there's still a chance that's not enough. If that were to come to pass, what should we do?
それにしても、今後はちょっとつまんなくなるね。
今後？
夏美とアキラだよ。これからは二人で行動することが多くなって、夏美と一緒にいる時間はどんどん少なくなっていくと思う。
Akira, you're making their lives boring by hogging Natsumi to yourself. Share the green-haired one.
二人が楽しくやってるのは万々歳だけど、その分以前みたいに三人で出かけるようなことはなくなっていくのかなってさ。
そんな大げさだって。
Tomoko tried to laugh it off, but it seemed she could sense something from the look on my face. She donned a slightly more gentle expression and looked at me with concern.
なあに千里、あんた吹っ切れたんじゃなかったの？
ああ、その点については心配いらないよ。もう整理もついてるし、こうなった結果については後悔なんて全然ない。守先輩にも悪いしさ。
あらあら、ごちそうさま。
だから違うっての。なんていうか、その。
How do I explain this feeling? Jealousy? Envy? No, that's not what this is. If anything, I dare say it's a loneliness.
友達よりも彼氏。
Natsumi! Chisato's lonely! Get over here!
まあ、当然といえば当然の思考なんだけどね。 せっかく私たち3人で楽しくやっていたのに、それがなくなるのがちょっと寂しいかなって。なんていうか、花嫁を送った父の心境とでも言えばいいのかな。
送ったことないくせに。でもわかるよ。その気持ち。私も同じだもん。
Tomoko pulled out a bottle as she said that, then filled a spare cup to the brim with barley tea and held it out to me. Up until now, Natsumi was always the one giving me tea. Nobody ever asked her to do that. She just did it naturally, and I took it for granted. It was a little strange.
複雑だね。いなくなってから大事さに気づくなんてよく言うけど、やっぱり私も寂しい。
Now, if that's not a true statement of life, I don't know what is. Boy, do I really understand that all too well.
あの子の思いを叶えてあげたかったのは本心だけど、正直もうちょっと後でもよかったんじゃないかって少しだけ思ったりもする。
For a second, I read the first part of her sentence as I truly did not want to make her dreams come true, and I'm like, Tomoko! What the hell? But no, my eyes are just playing tricks on me.
3人で過ごす時間、私も楽しかったしね。
タマコ。
それでも、いつまでも同じってわけにはいかない。変わらないままが一番だって分かっているけど、そんなの無理よね。
Also a harsh truth of life. Whether you want to or not, the world will always move on, with or without you.
恋人のこと優先的に考えなきゃ、相手にだって申し訳ないし、こっちだって2人の時間と関係を邪魔しちゃいけないと思って、なんとなく距離を置いちゃう。そうなってくると、友達としてどう振る舞ったらいいのかって、正直わかんなくなるよ。
The nice thing about having longtime friends is that they're able to sense my innermost dark emotions and put them into words. Maybe Tomoko herself didn't think that deeply about it. She's flexible to an extent and can adapt to fit any circumstances. That's the kind of girl she is. But I think about these things. At least it appears that way to her. I let out a sigh. It felt like I was being immature. It was so much easier when it was just the three of us getting along. It would be nice if we could just talk to each other about our thoughts and feelings, pointing out the pros and cons to one another. But since Natsumi found someone more precious than a friend, I no longer understood. Well, get a boyfriend yourself. Maybe you'll be able to understand there. Or a girl, or a girlfriend, since you don't seem to have any issue with the same sex either. So I mean, whatever floats your boat. Wouldn't it be rude to step in, make a big fuss, and push things around? If we push too hard based on our own circumstances, wouldn't that just be making even more trouble for her? Yeah, kind of would be. I was in a similar romantic position before, so up until now I had different worries. We don't yet have the necessary experience to come up with a clear answer. Right now, we're just going around in circles, thinking of a solution to this confusing and frustrating problem.
それに
Whenever I see that girl up close, things are still good. But if by some chance the secret I've been hiding from her were to come out, I'm not sure what I'd do. Then she'd be suspicious of me deliberately pulling away from her boyfriend. I couldn't think of any good ideas. Nothing felt right. I deeply regretted my inability to do anything.
で、どうする？千里。もし、あんたさえその気だったら、今からでもなかったことにすることは可能だよ。あんたと夏美、どっちの味方かって言われたら、 私はあんたの味方になってもいい。
なんだいそりゃ。どういう意味だよ。
そのまんまの意味だよ。それとも、ちゃんと言葉にした方がいい？
Tomoko's gentle voice sounded like the whispers of the devil. Right. If we wanted to make the whole situation go away, it would actually be quite simple. For example, we could directly ask Natsumi if her friends or boyfriend were more important. If we did that, she'd become very timid and start acting overly dependent. I'm sure she'd set her own personal feelings aside and give us priority, reverting to our original relationship. But that would be far too cruel. An excessively foul tactic. Yeah, I agree with you there. In the first place, I can't just take Natsumi's current happiness from her. There's no way I could do something like that.
冗談だよね。
うん、冗談。
You sure? Uh-oh, something banged. That terrifying lie instantly ran chill through my entire body, making me feel weak enough to collapse on the spot.
あのね、タマさんや。
ごめんごめん。でも言い方は変になったけど、千里が感じている不安はきっと私も同じだよ。あの子がアキラちゃんと付き合い始めてからなんとなくぎこちない。それが正直ちょっとストレスにも感じている。
それは。
Her assessment was spot on, so I couldn't laugh it off or get angry about it. Happy, but also stressed. I didn't want to overthink things, but I liked it better before. It was completely absurd. I suddenly let out an unpleasant sigh. Even though everyone should be super happy, I'm feeling stressed, and I'm sure Natsumi is too. What can I do to purge these nasty thoughts from my heart and clear my mind?
なんかさ、こういう時に気分がハイになる薬でもあったら便利なんだけどね。
ほら、物騒なことを言うな。
Yeah, please don't, because last I checked, Japanese society in particular really does not like people getting high.
あんたが言うとシャレになんないでしょ。
あ、そうか。
Besides, what if some of the snooty gossipers in the classroom overhears you? Whoops. Forgot what sort of business my family's involved with. Stress, huh? If a drug like that really existed in the world, could it solve all these problems? No. Or would it do the opposite? More often than not, yes. I wiped the sweat from my forehead with a handkerchief. With the curtains closed, the art room was wrapped in a damp heat at lunchtime. Two fans in the corner of the room were letting out a quiet humming sound. The smell of oil and paint wafted over with the breeze. With the room in that state, the intermittent sounds of Akira-kun's breathing and brushstrokes echoed throughout the room. Out of context, this seems a bit suggestive to me. Akira-kun was staring at the canvas with unwavering focus. He had an incredible level of concentration. My very existence may have temporarily vanished from his mind. Looking at the canvas, his face was serious and very fearless. It was really cool. I bet it is cool. And that amazing person is my boyfriend. I felt shy and embarrassed while thinking that. But more than that, my heart was filled with warmth and happiness.
よし、こんなものかな。
Before long, Akira-kun set his fine detail brush down and let out a sigh. And at the same time, the tension and the overwhelmingly heavy air that filled the room dispersed without a trace, giving my heart a sense of release.
終わったの？アキラくん。
ああ。これ以上は打足になると思うから、この辺で。お。
Akira-kun noticed the lunchbox next to me as he said that, and said whoops, while turning toward the clock on the wall. Only 20 minutes before the end of lunch break. He started by saying he should do a little bit of work before lunch. But in the end, he couldn't stop working his brush and went on for over 30 minutes. I know that feeling all too well. When you got your rhythm going, you just can't put the brush or the pen or the pencil down.
ごめん、君吉。俺、夢中になって。
うん、いいよ。終わってからじゃないと気分よく昼食なんて食べられないもんね。
だけど、今からじゃ購買。
大丈夫。ちょっと待ってね。
You came prepared, didn't you? I stood up with a smile on my face as I said that. And then I opened the lid on one of the lunchboxes sitting on the desk next to Akira-kun. The inside was packed full of vibrantly colorful side dishes.
君吉、これって。
今日は私がお昼を作る日だったから、アキラくんの分も作ってきたの。もしよかったら、食べてもらえないかな。
もちろん。
He sounds so excited at that. It's adorable. Akira-kun somewhat shyly raised his voice and nodded. When we first started getting to know each other, I thought his blunt way of speaking meant that he was uninterested. But now I know that's not the case. He's just kind of an awkward person. He's always trying really hard to give people the best answer, but he can't quite say it, so he ends up going silent. And now, I understand it clearly. He's a really serious and sincere person. That moment. Not sure if it was good or bad timing, but Akira-kun's belly let out a growl. Is that what I heard? It sounded like something was getting squeezed. As soon as he broke his concentration, his body started complaining to him for not eating lunch. It was loud enough that I could hear it standing next to him. Seeing the weirdly overblown reaction on my face, Akira-kun shyly smiled and scratched his head. It felt really tickling, but also strangely tightening. That uncomfortable feeling made me feel happy. So happy. And really scared.
はい、アキラくん。お茶。
Afraid that you're afraid to lose that feeling or something?
ありがとう。
After accepting the cup of cold tea I just poured from the bottle, Akira-kun drank it down. I poured some more into a spare cup and took a sip. I felt a comforting chill run down my throat, and for a moment, the air in this sweaty room seemed to cool off.
それにしても、君吉って料理上手なんだな。
おかずは半分くらい冷凍食品なんだけどね。
でもうまかった。俺のお袋ってこういうの苦手だから。
そうなの？よかった。
I put a hand on my chest and breathed a sigh of relief. It's not that I wasn't confident, but I was worried he wouldn't like it. And it was nagging at me all day, so it made me all the more happy.
また機会があったら作ってきてあげようかな。
Thinking about that, my heart swelled and began throbbing as I vowed to give it my best shot. Next time, it won't be frozen food. I'll spend time preparing it the night before and... But if I were to do that, there's no way I'd be able to keep it a secret from Mom like I did today. Your mom doesn't know you got a boyfriend? I still haven't told my family about Akira-kun. I'm a little embarrassed about it, but more than that, I was worried they'd complain about it or be outright opposed. It's too soon. Shouldn't you focus on your studies? I imagined him saying things that were more than just cautious, but bordering on critical, and felt depressed. Still, if I want this to continue, I'll have to talk to my family and get their approval eventually. I'm not doing anything wrong, but they'll probably be upset with me for keeping secrets and acting selfishly more than anything else. It's stifling, but I have no choice. Because this is for the sake of my happiness. The longer you keep this a secret, it's the worse it's going to be for you when they eventually find out. Just saying. It's better to just rip the band-aid off now than let the wound fester, you know? Trying to shake off my unpleasant mood, I took a look at the freshly painted picture behind him. Unlike usual, the subject of Akira-kun's painting this time was a portrait of me. Aww. To be honest, I was a little surprised and confused when he first asked, but I agreed to it after some encouragement from Chisato-chan and Tamako-chan. But at this point, I have no regrets, because...
素敵だね、この絵。
え?
As I gazed at the picture in awe, I let out a sigh while voicing my thoughts.
私、絵のモデルになって描かれるのって初めてだから、すごく不安で緊張して。大丈夫だった？動いたりして描きにくくなかったかな？
いや、全然。むしろ長い時間じっとしてくれてすごく助かったよ。
そう？よかった。
それに絵は写真と違うからさ、モデルの造形よりもその息遣いとかその視線の先のものとかいろんな要素をどうやったら表現できるのか、そんなことを考えて描くんだ。だから写実的な表現は写真や映像に劣るけど、絵画は描き手の意思をその中に盛り込むことができる。自分の気に入ったところをさらによく見せようとしたり、頭の中に浮かんだイメージを書き加えたり、それが楽しいんだよ。
In other words, you put your romanticized ideal of Natsumi onto a canvas, using the lady herself as a base. How peachy.
すごいな。
Akira-kun is usually very quiet, but he's very eloquent and passionate when it comes to painting. It's like he turns completely inside out when it comes to things he likes. No, that's just boy stuff in general. When you get us talking about our hobbies, we get a lot more chatty.
でも、これを見ていると私、ちょっとくすぐったい。こんなに美人じゃないのに、とっても綺麗に描いてくれたんだもの。嬉しいけど、なんだか複雑だな。
Being beautiful is complicated.
そんなことないよ。俺はありのままに描いただけなんだから。
ありがとう。
I was relieved to hear Akira-kun say that. And yet, why? Why do I feel so uneasy about this? Maybe I was expecting Akira-kun to deny it?
私がモデルでこんなに美人なんだから、本当に綺麗な人だったら大変だね。綺麗すぎてコンプレックスっていうか、嫉妬しちゃうかもしれないな。
Now again, feeling jealous towards yourself would be quite an interesting, mental conundrum to find yourself in, not gonna lie.
これでも書ききれていない気がして、実はちょっと迷っているんだ。
I could make a joke here, but I don't know if I should.
本当のことを言うとさ、俺は君吉がどれだけ綺麗で素敵なのか、それをみんなに伝えたくてこの絵を描いたんだ。でもやっぱり本物にはかなわない。というより、今の俺の力じゃここまでしか描けないのかって悔しいくらいだ。
アキラ君。
To think that was how he felt. How kind. But do I even have the qualifications to make him think that?
だからさ、君吉。
I would say that you do. I mean, he is dating you after all.
いや、夏美。
He's even calling you by first name.
これからもずっと君の絵を描かせてもらいたい。今は全然無理だけど、いつかきっと自分でも納得できる絵を見せられるように頑張るから。ダメかな。
ダメだなんて。私
I was delighted. I was so happy that Akira-kun thought so much of me. But, happy as I am, why can't I control these unpleasant feelings making me feel doubt? Just then, the music in the room stopped, and the room fell silent. Fourth wall break? That's unusual for this series. It was the announcement that we had 10 minutes left before afternoon classes. Akira-kun is in a scholarship program, so working on his assignments has priority over attending class this month. But that's not the case for me.
私、もう戻らなきゃ。ごめんね。
ああ、いや、こっちこそ悪い。結局昼休み全部使わせちゃって。
気にしないで。私はとっても楽しかったから。
I put on a bright smile as I slipped the lunch boxes into my bag. In fact, even though we didn't talk much, I was happy just watching Akira-kun earnestly work on his painting.
そういえば、アキラ君。次は何を描くつもりなの？
え？ああ、次の課題は風景画。今度はちょっと思考を変えて、田舎の風景なんて描けたらなーなんて思ってるんだ。
田舎？
うん。田園とか、古い建物とかさ。
Might I suggest Hinamizawa?
見晴らしのいいところなんて最高だよな。あ、そうだ。
Then, Akira-kun clapped his hands together like he had thought of something in the middle of talking. And then...
確か、夏美の前に住んでいた町、鹿骨市の沖宮って言ったよな。
Well, Okinomiya is close to Hinamizawa, so... Close enough, literally.
そうだけど。
じゃあ、知ってるかな？同じ市のhinamizawaって小さな集落地。
Oh, he did actually mean... Well, how about that? Looks like he did have his eyes on Hinamizawa. Akira must have heard me. Hinamizawa. I gasped for a moment and nearly dropped the lunchboxes I was carrying. No way. I never imagined Akira-kun would ever mention that name.
ちょっと前にスケッチに向きそうな場所の資料を探していた時に見つけたんだけど、これ。
Akira-kun pulled out a pamphlet from his bag as he said that, and spread it out. It was a familiar-looking tourist brochure, issued by the town council, with information about sightseeing in Hinamizawa.
ここって合掌造りで有名な村らしくてさ。それに村の神社の高台からの眺めがすごくって、村全体を見渡すことができるって話なんだ。
Literally the same view I was thinking about originally. That is just perfect.
どうかな、ここって。もしいい場所なら、ぜひ一度行ってみたいと思うんだけど。
I hesitated, struggling to find the words to respond. It's not as though I didn't know about it. After all, the mayor of the village, or to be more precise, the town council leader, was a distant relative of mine. But what should I do? Would it be alright to answer him honestly? If he's asking me if I think it's a scenic location, I certainly do think that's true. It's abundantly rich in nature, and it would completely satisfy Akira-kun's desire to draw landscape paintings. But if he's asking me to consider it a good place, I'm not sure how I'd answer that. Oishiro-sama. Over the past few years, there's been a series of accidents and incidents in Hinamizawa with ties to that destructive god. The puppy dog is not a force of destruction. Stop that slander! And the victims include a boy of roughly the same age as me.
そんなの迷信か。いい加減なこじつけでしょ。バカバカしい。
I didn't hesitate to say that because, honestly, I didn't believe in that stuff. But on the other hand, I also know that I don't want to believe. And what's worse, what if I got Akira-kun involved in something like that? No, even if nothing happens, what if he learns the truth about this stuff? Yeah, that's it. Let's lie to him and say we don't really know. Then we'll do as much as possible and to indirectly tell him he's better off not going. With that in mind, I sifted through Hinamizawa's shortcomings. Look, I think you mean shortcomings? Looking for a suitable excuse.
あれ、このHinamizawaの村長さんって君吉って言うんだ。
Oh shit.
偶然。Natsumiと一緒なんだな。
I gasped and looked at the brochure without thinking. And what I saw there was an unmistakable picture of my relative, with commentary. And the name Kiichiro Kimiyoshi was written under the picture in furigana.
そういえば、千里から聞いたんだけど、Natsumiの親戚に村の村長さんをやってる人がいるって。
Oh no.
ひょっとしてこの人？
Oh no.
それは。
Staring straight at it, I was at a loss for how to respond. I wanted to say it wasn't true. I don't know this wrinkly old fart. He and I have no relation whatsoever. I thought it'd be fine to just say I don't know. But there's no way I can lie to the person I love. Without no other choice, I nodded my head.
ああ、やっぱりそうなんだ。じゃあこんなパンフを読むより詳しいよな。よかったら教えてくれないか？
いいけど。
Though I said that with a nod, a mountain of regrets were swirling around inside my heart. What should I do? I can't just say, you're better off not going. Akira-kun is a kind person. But if I say terrible things about the village where my relatives live, I'm sure he'll think less of me. No, it would be fine if it was just that. But if he finds out there are creepy rumors about the village, and knows that I'm related to the mayor of such a weird place, what kind of impression would that give him of me? Knowing him, I'm sure he wouldn't say anything. But I worry that in the depths of his heart, he'd start to have strange doubts about me for being associated with that area. In which case...
あ、そうだ。ちょうど今月末、その村で村祭りがあるの。綿流しってお祭りで、よかったら一緒に行かない？
一緒に？うん。
その、
ダメだなんて、そんなことないよ。俺も、できれば、一緒に。うん。
じゃあ私、道案内をしてあげるね。
So, I'll pretend I don't know any of that stuff. I don't know about Orishiro-sama. I haven't heard about the curse. Because I lived in the town next over. So I only know of the good things about the village.
大丈夫だよ。大丈夫。
I did my best to convince myself of that. There's no need to worry. Akira-kun couldn't possibly hear about those things on a one or 2 day trip. And even if something like that, starts to come up, I just have to stay by his side to stop it. And in the unlikely event that the curse does emerge and tries to do him harm. If that happens, I'll protect him. Wow. Looks like we might get one last showing of Dark Natsumi after all. Or Evil Natsumi, or Psycho Natsumi, or Murder Happy Natsumi, or... yeah, just pick whatever, or, how do you say Natsumi backwards? No, I'm not gonna think about it right now. No matter what happens, I'll protect him. Even if demons or gods emerge, I don't care. I'll destroy anything that comes between me and my happiness. I swear it! Oh dear. And here I was hoping that we would finally be able to put this particular little plot point behind us in the other arcs, but oh no. Nope. Looks to me like it's gonna more than likely rear its ugly head possibly one final time before Natsumi's story and all these other characters' stories will be well and truly over. A final showdown, if you will. That evening, I told my family about Akira-kun at dinner. I said I've started dating someone.
そうなの。そういえば夏美もそんな年になったのね。
どんな子だい？優しい子ならいいんだけどね。
とっても優しい人。美術の特待生で大きなコンクールでも賞をいっぱい取ってるの。この前私モデルにもなって。
そりゃすごいな。夏美がどんな風に描かれているか一度見てみたいよ。
Surprisingly enough, the family didn't react poorly. See? I told you it'd be better just to get this out of the way. Of course, they warned me not to let my grades drop because of my relationship. I was expecting that. But my grades on the recent midterm went well, so even Mom was able to keep her sword sheathed.
成績が上がれば何かをやるときに武器になってくれるわよ。だから頑張って。
See? She was right.
ありがとう、Tomoeさん。
In my heart, I softly voiced my gratitude. After all, she was the one who helped me make this happen.
それでね、
But after that, even though I gave this conversation a lot of careful thought and succeeded in carrying it out, I slipped up and misspoke. I said I want to go to Hinamizawa with Akira-kun.
一緒に旅行ですって？
In the middle of serving Dad his dinner, Mom very clearly frowned as soon as she heard that. Noticing that change in facial expression, I rushed to cover my mistake.
違うよ。今度の綿流しの日、私たちひなみ沢に行くでしょ。その時にあきらくんも一緒に連れて行ってもいいかなって。
一緒にって、お父さんの車には4人しか乗れないのよ。どうやって行くつもりなの？
それは。だったら私とあきらくんはバスでひなみ沢に。大巻から高速バスが出てるし、それに乗って。
ダメです。そんなのバス代がもったいないでしょう。そのことは沖宮で合流すればいいじゃないの。
それはそうだけど。
Mom's curt suggestion left me dissatisfied. Sure, I suppose that would be fine. But I promised that I'd guide him there. Is it really so selfish to want to travel there and back together?
だいたいその子、ひなみ沢に何の用なの？
だから言ったでしょ。あきらくんは美術の特待生で、今度の課題に田舎の風景を描きたいんだって。それで私がひなみ沢の村内を案内してあげるって。
And even if I'm just showing him around, it's a small village after all. The villagers are likely to notice him, so I definitely need my parents' consent. But Mom didn't seem to like the idea at all. Well, considering she's never been the biggest fan of Hinamizawa, I'm not terribly surprised.
だったら知り合いでいい人を紹介してあげるから、その人に任せなさい。あなたも一緒に回ってもいいけど、2人だけなんていけません。
どうして？
当たり前でしょ。よそ様の子。まして男の子と一緒に村を回るなんて。お母さんは絶対許しませんよ。
そんな。
Ever the bossy little busybody, huh, Mommy dearest? I was discouraged and at a loss for words. But on the other hand, somehow, I expected Mom to be opposed. Even in the best of times, she's one to worry about appearances and reputation. I'm sure she just doesn't want any weird rumors going around in the village. But I absolutely refuse to have someone babysitting Akira-kun and me. Because the whole point of me leading him around the village is to prevent him from hearing any of those strange rumors. On the off chance that the person with us brings up a weird topic, doesn't that defeat the purpose of the whole thing? And then, just as I began putting together the words to persuade her, another annoying obstacle came from an unexpected direction. It's Granny, isn't it?
Natsumi-chan.
Yep!
その東堂君って男の子を綿流しの日に呼ぶつもりなのかい？
そのつもりだけど。
And if he's there for the village festival, he'll have no trouble finding things to paint. That's what I thought, but I never expected it to make Grandma put up this sort of resistance.
夏美ちゃんには悪いけど、 おばあちゃんも反対だね。綿流しの日によそ様の子を呼んで、もしお社様がお怒りになったら大変なことじゃないの。
I knew she would go there.
その子だけじゃない。夏美ちゃんにまでたたりが及ぶかもしれないんだよ。
はあ、またお社様ですか。いい加減にしてくださいよ。
Mom was clinging to her head in frustration, and her ill-tempered voice was getting even worse. This can't get any worse. Once Mom gets like this, there's no way she'll listen to me. After all, Mom doesn't just disbelieve, she outright despises the faith in Norishiro-sama.
余計なこと。
My irritation turned to anger, and without thinking, I began glaring at Grandma. The curse. The curse. Why does she have to mention something that'll ruin the atmosphere here?
たたりなんて、そんなのおかしいよ。だってお祭りには近隣の人たちもいっぱい来てるじゃない。どうしてアキラくんがたたりにあったりするの？
お社様はね、村に迷惑を持ち込む者に罰を与えるんだよ。
Akira-kun's not a troublemaker.
その男の子がどんな子かは知らないけど、村の人たちは外から来る者に対してあまりいい感情を持たないからね。
そういう言い方しないでよ。アキラくんも優しい人なんだから。
しかしね、夏美ちゃん。
やめてください、お母さん。たたりたたりって変なこと言って話をややこしくしないで。
After loudly interrupting, Mom turned to me and spoke. When I saw the look on her face, I felt dejected. No matter how hard I thought about it, there's no good answer when she looks like that.
あのね、夏美。案内したいのがいつも仲良くしている女の子たちだったらお母さんもうるさく言いませんよ。でも同級生の男の子と一緒に出歩くなんて村の人が聞いたらなんて思うか分かってるの？不死だらな女の子だってあなたが言われるのよ。
Don't you think you're worrying about this just a tad too much, lady?
不死だらって何？私そんなこと考えてないよ。母さんのその勘繰りの方がよっぽど変だよ。
何ですかその口の利き方は。あなたからも何か言ってください。
Well, if he had something to say, Mr. Ballas Wonder here would have said by now, I'm sure. Dad deliberately stretched out his chopsticks to start eating, and muttered that word without any concern. He's really so unreliable at times like these. He seems pretty unreliable in general, 90% of the time. Let's be honest here. Besides, if you're going to call male-female relations slutty, isn't that how I was born? Are you going to say I'm a product of something unclean?
それに、好きな子ができるのは結構だけど、それに夢中になって成績が落ちたりなんてしたら、お母さん、承知しませんよ。中間が良くても期末テストだって近いんでしょう。その準備はできてるの？それに。
もういい。ごちそうさま。
ちょっと夏美、話はまだ。
I didn't need to hear anymore. I violently rose to my feet, then rushed out of the living room. And then I could hear Mom scolding me from behind as I dashed up the stairs.
夏美、ちゃんと食後に薬を飲みなさいよ。聞いてるの？夏美。
何よ？何よ？
Seriously, your mom just has a really annoying habit of just making things worse with that tongue of hers. I harshly slammed the door closed, then muttered in anger as I threw my body onto my bed. I slapped my open hand on the pillow in front of me, but I felt even more upset when it softly collapsed without any resistance.
あんな言い方って あんな言い方ってないじゃない。
Up until now, I've been doing my best to follow along with what my parents have told me. Like my studies. My grades have improved so much that my teacher is praising me. And even at my part-time job, everyone tells me I'm very diligent and a good girl. My friends can see that. People who understand me see that. My boyfriend can see that. Everyone is able to see how desperately hard I've been working to adapt to my new environment, and that I'm seeing good results. And yet, all the adults in my family are acting the same as always. Mom is nagging. Yeah, she is the queen of the nags. Dad is unreliable. Dad is the king of the cucks. Grandma is gloomy and oppressive. She is the queen of the glooms. Why? Why is my family so dull and incapable of understanding? Doubting me, making false accusations, ordering me around, restricting me. Why can't they accept me? You know I've been working so hard. Why can't they believe it? Tomoe-san told me that as long as I'm trying my best, people will be willing to listen to me. Well, unfortunately, that doesn't apply to everybody. But just how hard do I have to work to get them to understand? Well, that's just the thing. There are just some people in this world that no matter how hard you work or you apply yourself, you'll never be able to satisfy. Nothing will ever be good enough. When can I finally relax? The more I think about it, the more irritated and angry I get. I got up and grabbed the pill case on my desk, then tossed a capsule inside my mouth. Then I poured some water into a glass from the pitcher beside it, and drank it all at once. After taking the medicine, I felt relieved and began to calm down. I wonder if that's the active effect or just a placebo. Active effect. And after a while, I felt a rush of drowsiness, like a fine mist inside my head, and a yawn escaped me.
もう寝よう。
I was actually planning to do some preparation for school tomorrow before taking my pill and going to bed. But it was far too much of a bother, so I tossed my clothes to the floor, put on my pajamas, and crawled into bed. The warm cottony feel wrapped around my body, mellowing me into a world of slumber.
でも、明日の朝はまた顔を合わせるんだよね。
Anyway, what do I do about Mom? If I don't apologize, she'll probably still be in a bad mood preparing breakfast tomorrow, and she'll do the bare minimum as a mother and say good morning to me. But even if I apologize then, it won't do much to fix her mood. See, this is just what I mean! Sometimes there's just situations where no matter what you do, someone is just gonna be in a bad mood about you, so... Normally, I would say at that point, don't even bother with them. But this is your mom, so... Yeah, I mean... The way I see it, it's better to just minimize damage, because the way I see it, you're gonna be getting blowback from this no matter what you do. So if you can do anything to minimize the amount of blowback that you're gonna get from it, that would be your best course of option at this point. So I would just apologize to her personally, even if deep down you don't agree with it, you don't think you should. It'll just make it easier for her to get off your back. You know what I mean? So I'll force my unsatisfying breakfast down with a glass of milk or something, and then head to school feeling depressed. Thinking about that made me feel miserable. How much easier would things be if we just didn't have to see each other face to face?
なら、殺しちゃう？
I jumped out of bed and took a look around. Who was that? What was that voice just now?
どこ向いているの？夏美。私はここよ。どこから話しているの？もう、しょうがないな。そこの枕元の鏡、ちょっと取ってみて。それで覗いてごらんなさい。ほら。
Feeling scared, I reached down and grabbed the mirror on my desk. And I gazed at my face in that small frame. I saw that! Even though I screamed, it sounded like I was frozen because my whole body was wrapped in fear. What I saw reflected there wasn't my face. It was something more dreadful, hideous, and horrendously deformed. Intense nausea came rising up from the back of my throat, and I crouched down on the spot. It felt like it was grinning at me from the other side of the mirror, so I immediately tossed the mirror away. The mirror shattered to pieces as it slammed into the wall, scattering shards all around. Nevertheless, the laughter continued echoing from the pile of debris. I tried to control my hoarse breathing, but my heart started beating more intensely, and my field of view was narrowing, filled with bizarre colors swirling all around.
認めなさいよ、夏美。あなたは、本当はいい子なんかじゃない。いつも打算的に、相手の反応を見て、態度を変える。とってもいやらしい女の子。何にも知らずに可愛らしく振る舞っているけど、心の中では、いろいろ違うことも考えてるのよね。今日もそうよね。わざわざ絵を持ち出して、アキラくんに自分のことが綺麗だと無理やり言わそうとして。知ってたんでしょ？分かってたんでしょ？アキラくんが優しくて、本当はどう思っていても、あなたにとって嫌なことは絶対に言わないことくらい。
No, that's not true. She never once thought that at all.
やめて！ほら、じゃあ見せてあげるわ。あなたの本当の姿。そして。
ねえ、夏美。お母さんは、あなたのことを思って注意してるんだからね。あなたも、君吉の家の娘として、ちょっと聞いてるの？夏美！
Right then, suddenly, my racing emotions and shattering heart suddenly became colorless, transparent. The thoughts in my head cleared up. I wasn't angry. I wasn't afraid. Sorrow, suffering, guilt, gratitude, despair. I felt none of them. Everything intricately mixed together. The vectors in my mind coalesced on one thing. Who? Who asked me to be a part of this family? When did you ask me to become a member of the Kimiyoshi family? Do you seriously believe I would have wanted to be born in Hinamizawa? Oh dear. I've suffered excruciating hardships since I came to this city, thanks to being born and raised in the countryside. Thanks to that great disaster, I've been working tirelessly to keep the fact that I'm from Hinamizawa secret. There's nothing for it. I was trying so hard, but Hinamizawa ruined everything! The 3 families, or Ishiro-sama, the curse. Like I care about any of that. Hinamizawa hasn't given me anything. It gave me that horrible disaster. That's it! If only I wasn't from Hinamizawa, I'd be treating everyone normally, without having to bear all these inferiority complexes and obligations. I'd be playing with my friends like normal, struggling to improve my grades like normal, and finding a person to fall in love with like normal. It's all Hinamizawa's fault. My happiness, efforts, and dreams have all gone up in smoke because I grew up in that wretched place! If that's the case, I don't need this anymore! It should all go away! Disappear!
Natsumi, どこ行くの? まだ話は終わって。
Wait. Are these her actual memories of what happened after the argument started at dinner?
やめなさい、夏美。あなた、何を考えてるの？やめ。
春子、どうしたんだい？変な叫び声を上げて。
That eek sounded more like a laugh than a scream. What the hell?
ただいま。ん？なんだこの匂い。おい、春子。一体これはなんだ。
That's right. Why do I alone have to endure this? Why do I have to live this stifling lifestyle, doing as those people say? I'm doing my best here, and they're selfishly living their lives as they see fit. In that case, I'll do the same. I'll go on with my life however I see fit!
So, 殺しなさい。気に入らないやつ、幸せの邪魔をするやつはみんないらない。みんな殺してしまえ。
Yes, kill. Kill. Yeah, I'm not gonna narrate this. Son of a bitch! And here I was thinking that nothing would end up happening to this family this time around. You're not gonna pull a bait and switch on me and have me think that, and try to make me think that what I just saw there was nothing but a bad dream, right? And then the second that she goes downstairs, we're gonna find what remains of the family's corpses in the corner in the living room somewhere or something. You're not gonna try that shit on me again, are you? I woke up screaming. And the moment I did, the blanket laying up to my chest fell forward and rolled down to my knees. At the same time, beads of sweat from my forehead dripped down on the thighs of my pajamas, leaving a number of stains. I held down my throbbing chest to remedy my hoarse breathing. My heart was pounding fast and beating hard. It really seemed like it was about to be crushed. I couldn't stop trembling. Sweat was flowing through my whole body like a waterfall. My limbs were shaking loud enough to be audible, and the clattering in my back teeth was making a bizarre sound. My hair was sticking to my forehead, my neck, and my cheeks, making me feel gross. Slowly, after finally managing to catch my breath, I timidly lifted my head. This is my room. Right. This is my room. In my house. I slowly looked back at the alarm clock on the side of my desk. It was around 7 o'clock. The second hand continued moving like usual. From out the window, I could hear the cry of a sparrow. Sunlight brightly shone in through the window of the curtains open wide, telling me it was morning. I exhaled a deep sigh of relief, large enough to empty my lungs. As I gradually woke up and began to recognize the view in front of me was reality, I could feel all dark and heavy emotions fading from my heart. The despair, fear, and confusion slowly disappeared. Thinking about it calmly, it was a strange dream. Strange is not the word I would use personally, but go off. After Mom's persistent nagging, I went into a frenzy, grabbing a knife from the kitchen and swinging it over and over and over. Well, to be fair, Natsumi, your mom's nagging makes me feel violent urges too. Especially now at this point. She's just not what I would personally call a very pleasant person to deal with 80% of the time. And then again, when Grandma witnessed it. And of course, Dad came home right after that. I shook my head and bitterly laughed at myself for being frightened by a dream. Seriously, what an absurd dream. It was like that bad horror movie I saw on TV the other day. The more you keep insisting that this is a bad dream makes me think that you're going to try to pull a bait and switch on me. Stop that! No matter how much I argue and fight with Mom, I never hated her enough to even think of turning a weapon on her. Not to mention, killing Grandma and Dad too? There's no way I'd ever do that. I think the Natsumi from several of the past arcs would like a word with you. It was so obviously unrealistic. It seems like I took a story I saw somewhere else and replaced the characters with people I knew. It was an irresponsible nightmare. I had no idea a nightmare could be irresponsible. I looked at my pajamas. They were drenched with sweat like they'd been through rain. This might have been the first time in excuse me. This might have been the first time in my life I experienced a night sweat like this. The sheets were damp too. It was a little uncomfortable. Mom will have to wash these sheets, and I'll have to dry off the bed. I got off the bed, tossed the blanket to my desk, and yanked the sheet off. There was a huge stain on top of the thin mattress, so I folded it into quarters, intending to wash it too. Now you're lying to me. The bed is still made. Everything is still there. Damn game. You should stop being so lazy and actually change the background art to reflect what's happening. Since we have a large washer, we can even wash futons. But whether or not it will dry by the evening still depends on the weather. I thought that while walking toward the window, then opened it. A refreshing morning breeze blew in, the sun shining bright while hanging low in the sky. I tilted my head back and looked up at the sky. There were only a few scattered clouds. It looked like today would be a nice day. So for now, I didn't need to worry about the laundry.
気持ちいいな。
The break of dawn had already passed, but I think this was the first time in a long time that I woke up this early. I'm always making preparations for tomorrow's classes late at night while listening to the radio, so I habitually stay in bed until the last minute in the morning. Even so, I went to school on Monday morning feeling half asleep, but for some reason, my head was clear today, and I didn't feel sleepy at all. Well, back in Hinamizawa, I woke up at this time without anyone waking me up, so it wasn't a big deal or anything.
あ、そうか。
As soon as the word Hinamizawa came to mind, I finally remembered what happened last night. Got into an argument with my family about visiting Hinamizawa, then I shut myself in my room and fell asleep. In the end, Mom posted without even giving me a chance to explain. Grandma started saying weird things, and Dad acted like it was someone else's problem. No one in my family made any attempt to help me.
これが私の家族か。
Yep. They are the dysfunctional family of the hour. The one that you were stuck with. I suddenly let out a sigh of disappointment. Well, or maybe you're not stuck with them anymore if my suspicions about what may have happened to them prove correct within the next 10 minutes or so. Up until now, I always loved my family. My strict but reliable mom. My indecisive but friendly dad. My annoying but gentle grandma. I think you should take the annoying description and apply it to your mom, personally. When I was surrounded by them, I always felt loved. But that's not right. I was like a doll, only allowed to act according to their whims. The truth is, nobody cared what I wanted. They never actually saw my hard work. My happiness never really mattered to them. They're content only ever acting toward their own selfish ideals, and nothing more. Unforgivable. And yet, when I started thinking about stepping outside that frame, they took notice. Seems like they didn't like that idea very much. So, they opposed it and rejected my intentions. They didn't even try to discuss it. Somehow, I became overwhelmingly mortified and ashamed, and tears began spilling out. Even though I've been working so hard, even though I've endured so much while thinking about everyone else's happiness. As soon as I made a small decision of my own, all the things that were neatly piled up came tumbling down. Even though I was just making a small request in order to help my beloved Akira-kun.
そうだ。Akira-kun.
I remembered what I had promised Akira-kun yesterday, and felt discouraged once more. Under these circumstances, there's no way my parents will let me show him around. Be that as it may, it would be awkward to introduce him to someone else just to show him around. In fact, it might be easier for the two of us to just go somewhere else.
そうだ。そうだよね。
I half forced myself to regain my composure and raised my head. I'll apologize to Akira-kun and suggest that we go somewhere else for his sketching. He might feel suspicious, but I'm sure he'll understand if I explain it. Yeah, let's do that. Then we'll search for another nice location and go there together. I'm sure he'll be able to make a nice picture of what if we do that.
よし。
I gave myself a strong, wholehearted nod. For now, I should hurry up and shake off this heavy feeling. I'm sure Chisato-chan will be worried if I stay depressed like this, and Akira-kun too.
さてと、あれ？
I opened my door with the futon sheets in hand, but as soon as I entered the hallway by the stairs, that moment, I frowned at the bizarre air I was faced with. What in the world was this heavy air? You're about to do it, aren't you? You're about to switch that bait on me. Or you would try to if you were, or at least you're gonna, or at least you thought you would if you were actually being clever. But the truth is, I see it coming. A bait and switch is only really at its most effective when the person you're trying to bait can't see it coming. I'm on to you. And it smelled fishy. You could say it smelled like a beast. Suddenly, my nightmare from a little while ago came back to my mind. I sternly shook it off and walked down the hallway. I'm overthinking this. My dream a little while ago was really shocking, so that's why my doubts are getting stronger. That's right. It's impossible, isn't it? For my whole family to have been killed, and me being the sole survivor. You'd think that if my whole family was murdered, I'd be no exception to that, wouldn't I? Unless you're the killer. I would have been killed in my sleep, like being stabbed or strangled or something. But I'm still alive. If that's the case, isn't that proof that nothing happened? Wouldn't that be the case? Also, even though I occasionally hear about these sorts of gruesome incidents on TV, they don't happen just anywhere at any time. They happen to someone very unlucky, to families of no connection to me that live far away from this city. So it couldn't happen around me. Well, that's what every single one of these families that you're talking about probably thought too, until it happened to them, so... Your point? It definitely couldn't happen. Wait. It definitely feels like the scene happened in the past. This eerie presence. This strange stench. And some strange sound coming from behind me. I quickly turned around and looked behind me. There was nobody there. I didn't see anything. There was no way I could. But, why? Why am I certain I've been feeling something there for a while now? My heart was violently beating again, slamming hard against my chest from the inside. I could barely breathe, almost like I was being strangled and my trachea was getting crushed. Despite that, I mustered my willpower and walked down the hallway, reinvigorating my fading senses. Finally, I reached the stairs. And slowly, placing careful pressure onto the soles of my feet, I made my way downstairs one step at a time. Tap. 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 Pat. tap. Pat, pat, pat. That's strange. That's really strange. Why do I hear another set of footsteps? After my own. There shouldn't be anyone on the second floor right now. Mom should be making breakfast while Dad watches the morning news in the living room at this hour. And of course, Grandma never takes the stairs, so she must be on the first floor. Tap. Pat. Tap, tap. Pat, pat. Then, what are these footsteps? Whose footsteps are they? Also, those footsteps! They make a squeaky, sticky sound like they're stepping on chewing gum, and they're following behind me. What are they? And then, who is this presence, looming right behind me? That's right. This feeling, this sign. Yes, I know this. Those footsteps aren't mine. It's her, the one who was laughing at me through the mirror last night. She's following me from behind, constantly trying to ridicule me. Her appearance looked very similar to mine, but her aura was completely different. After all, she constantly had that horrifyingly cold and cruel look in her eyes. And her whole body was covered in bright red blood that was dripping down the floor even now, as she made squeaky, sticky sounding footprints. Tap. Pat. The fear felt like it was crushing my entire body. Unable to handle the anxiety, I stopped in place with only a few steps left to go. He was right behind me, following me. It remained silent, but I still sensed it behind me, holding its faint breath. I'm dreaming. The me I think I just saw was only a dream. Over and over again. Over and 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 over. In my head, I was repeatedly trying to spin together words denying the situation, doing my best to shake off the scene that was burned into my memory. But my voice wouldn't come out. Only a painfully dry, wind-like noise came out, like my throat was burning. A shiver ran down my spine. The cold sweat that ought to have run out once again oozed out and slid down my cold skin. The backs of my ears were burning hot. Then, just beside my neck, I felt the air move in a way that couldn't be the wind. Pat. I definitely heard that footstep. The presence approaching me from behind went silent and stopped again. I couldn't bear the fear crushing my heart, so I squeezed out the last dregs of my courage and looked back. Why? Why? Even though there has to be someone there. I can't see anything. Nobody's there. So why? It can't be. It can't be, 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 it can't be! Even though I thought she was behind me. Was there actually nobody behind me? Or in front of me either? So, what are these footsteps lingering in my ears? What's this burning presence I've been sensing behind my back for a while now? In other words, it's me. A part of me?
そうよ。さっきからそう言ってるじゃない。
That moment, a voice erupted from my mouth. and I quickly held my throat. What? What was that voice just now? That's not me. That's not me!
何を言っているの、夏美。これはあなたの声でしょ？違う。私が喋った声じゃない。あなたが私を体を乗っ取ったとでも言いたいの？違うわね。私はずっとあなたの中にいた。見ていて滑稽だったわよ。あなたが必死にもがいて苦しんで、そうして結局打ちひしがれる様。状況を良くしようと、幸せをつかもうといっぱい頑張っていたわよね。この目で私しっかり見ていたわよ。笑い転げながらね。ねえ夏美、もうやめましょうよ。努力しても我慢しても結局何にもならなかったじゃない。
Oh, shut up, you doomer.
あなたは状況を変えようと思っていろいろやってきたかもしれないけど、誰もそんなことを見ていない。認めていない。分かってくれていない。黙れ！否定しても無駄よ。だってこんなにも早く私が出てくることができたのがその証拠なんだもの。わからず屋の親たちには認めてもらえない。友達とも最近なんだかうまくいっていない。慣れない勉強続きでそろそろ疲れが限界点。よく頑張ったわね、夏美。でもその頑張りが一層あなたを苦しめて、私を閉じ込めていた檻を弱く小さくしていった。ずっと溜まり続けていた黒い感情がもう抑えきれないほどに膨らんで爆発寸前。それに気づかなかったの？そんな、私頑張れば頑張った分心が疲れる。ストレスが溜まってゆく。そしてそれを取り除こうと薬の量が増えてゆく。気づかなかった？あなたが飲み続けていた薬の量、ここに引っ越してくる前の2倍、3倍、それ以上になっていたわよ。飲みすぎ注意って誰かにも言われてたのにね。結局何にもならなかったわね。そう、全部無駄。ここであなたは私に全て譲って委ねて消えちゃうのよ。跡形もなく。さあ、眠りなさい。その方が楽になるわよ。ゆっくり楽しい夢を見て、あとは私に。
My body leaned forward as if repelled, and as a result, I missed a step, slipped, and fell. Fortunately, I wasn't too high up, and the futon I was carrying cushioned my landing, so I reached the first floor with light bumps on the knees. Then I timidly looked up toward the second floor, and saw nothing there. I gave my body a quick once-over, then heaved a sigh of relief, and taking over someone's body? That's not a thing at all. Yeah, I barely smiled to myself as I picked up the futon, then slid open the living room door and stepped inside. What did I say? What did I fucking say about pulling the bait and switch on me? So predictable. Well, I guess it's kind of beyond a shadow of a doubt at this point that we now have got dark side Natsumi to deal with now, huh? And she's already royally fucked things up for Natsumi already. By probably shish kebabbing the whole family. She's fucked. She'll never be able to... She's just doomed to never living a normal life, I swear to God. Having her whole family intact, being able to grow up and get married and maybe even have children of her own with Akira, being able to have her friends constantly at her side throughout life without any additional hardships. This just seems to be like almost an impossibility for her life for her life to just proceed without her killing somebody. Seriously. Fuck this girl's story. This girl's story hates her. Lordy Lord. Great. Just great. Oh well, I guess we better better alert Tomoe, aka Super Cop, as to what's going on, and try to get her involved and put the beast down herself. Somebody at least, maybe even get Chisato involved too if necessary. Akira even. Tomoko too, almost forgot her. Seriously, I'm just bitter at this point about all this. Like, I truly am. I don't know what else to say other than that. I'm just bitter. Dejected. Angry. Irritated. Whatever. You know what? I'm just gonna end things here. It's good enough spot as any to stop things, I think. So, yeah. Looks like we're gonna be in for some potentially very stressful times next time we come back to this. For what it's worth, I hope everybody enjoyed this latest episode of the Higurashi and the Cry console arcs. If you did and would like to see more content from me, feel free to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all next time. Take care.